Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Blocks to Creativity, Chapter 2, the second part of our lecture in our course Creativity in Business. We finished a part or half of a chapter in the previous video. This is the chapter outline. We discussed the mindset, the personal blocks to creativity, and in this brief video we will discuss organizational blocks to creativity. We will discuss many types of organizational blocks or blocks to creativity in organizations, as we see here. In this slide we have five classical blocks to creativity in organizations. It's not personal, right? It's not individual blocks. It is organizational one for the whole company, for example, or a big group or a team or something like this. The first one we have here, and a classical one actually, it's identifying the wrong problem. By the way, you may find some of the blocks are related to each other. Identifying the wrong problem is one of the blocks of creativity. In many situations, we may not probably rightfully define the problem we are dealing with. For example, classical problem is declining sales. If we have sales that is declining, okay, and what might be the problem we are dealing with? We may deal with a product quality problem. And while the main problem is not like this, it is just because the salesperson skills are not good enough, or because we need more advertising or something like this. So defining the problem or having a wrong definition for the problem may be an organizational block. One of the blocks in organizations as well for creativity is that organizations may quickly jump into conclusions, judging ideas too quickly, coming up with a solution too quickly without enough study could be another block to creativity. Related to this is that when we quickly jump into conclusion, we get stuck with the first good idea. We don't have patience to study more. So this one is close to this one, stopping with the first good idea. It's natural. It's something human that we don't study everything or possible solutions. We may study for a specific problem. This is another block for creativity. Creativity needs that you investigate more options and more ideas for solving a problem, or even in defining problem. We may need more time, not sticking or quickly going to the first definition of the problem. Number 4, failing to get the support of key personnel in organizations. And from experience, if you would like a solution to succeed, you need the support of the top management. You can't make it without people, key personnel, like your manager, like a chief executive, like higher levels support you. Failing to do this will be a problem in finding ideas. Implementation is the main thing here, that you need support of key personnel for it. The last one is failing to challenge assumptions. While finding solutions to problem, implementing those solutions, and even when defining problem, we may fail to challenge assumptions. For example, dealing with the declining sales problem, we may fail to challenge assumptions that competitors want to introduce new product. You may have a solution and you forget that you have competitors out there, and they may react to you, or they may introduce something or you may fail to challenge the assumptions that your solution will increase cost, or that if you are implementing a solution to enhance sales scales, you may fail to challenge the assumption that salesperson won't like it, won't accept it, right? So they will fail what you are implementing in there. So here we have 5 blocks to creativity in organizations. In the following slide we will have 4 more or something, but these are the most famous ones. Let's flip to the second slide. Here we have, yes, emphasis on control. Many organizations would prefer centralization, rigid control, tough formal procedures for doing things. While in many situations, creativity needs freedom, need people to work without tight control over them. So this is another block for creativity actually. Another block we have here is short-range thinking. In many organizations, managers would like immediate solutions, quick returns, right? While in creativity, you may need to sacrifice or to forget about returns or profits in the short run, because you are waiting for something better in the long range. So having a short range oriented thinking is another block. You are not patient. Number 3, and this is another block we may have here, sometimes you study too much and studying problems, studying solutions, investigating for ways for implementation such solutions, and you continue studying us and you forget even what was the problem is, right? This is called analysis paralysis, right? Ideas are often overanalyzed and studied, and then this may cause what's called here a paralysis. Rigid hierarchical, and this is highly connected with the number 1. If you have some centralized organization, you don't have much participation and democracy, you may find the organization is too rigid. Things should go in the hierarchy from one level to another. You need to get the approval of your boss, and the boss get the approval of the higher boss. It is hierarchical work. These types of organizations is not responsive, is not creative enough. Ideas may be lost in the middle because of this rigidity. Another slide for blocks we have here. One of the classical problems, actually it's not a block, classical problems in any organizations, you will find managers demanded to have results, while they don't have much resources for that. So you have pressure to achieve, and you don't have much money or resources to do these results. This is another block. This may get you stuck in the middle. Also as well, another block you may have here, that you rely on some people and you believe that they are creative and the others are not creative. You don't rely on them, while those others may have solutions, may help you in defining problems. They have some explanations and experience. So this is another some major block we may see in organizations. Organizations, in order for them to be creative, there must be some approaches, systematic one. You need to be organized in your organizations to be to make the organization innovative. So this is number three in this slide. Another block we may have here is that many managers would like to solve everything in one shot, dealing with 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 problems in one project. While it is better, it is more creative that you divide problems into separate ones and deal with each one as a separate project, smaller ones. This is more manageable. This is more creative than dealing with one big project. The last major organizational block or creativity block in organization is that the trade-off, the dichotomy of planning for products. If you have a new product, what orientation you may adopt, whether you rely on the market or rely on the technology, developing that product based on the market, or developing or planning for that product based or driven by the technology. A new product that is using a new information technology or manufacturing technology, you may find that customers in the market won't like it, or you may have some new tastes, some new demands in the market, and have a product while you don't have cost-effective technology for it. So which orientation, which drive you may use for planning your product? This is another block. This is another block we may see in organizations. So let's go back. In the previous lecture we've been talking about as we see here, individual barriers to creativity or blocks to creativity, like conceptual, cultural, emotional, intellectual. This is for each person or individual. And then in this lecture we are talking about blocks to creativity in organization. We have many of them, 5 in this slide and 4 here, and another 5 is 14 major blocks in organizations. Let me remind you that all these notes require you or needs reading text and other text suggested for this course, and in our assignment, inshallah, we will demand that you find extra examples to enhance our understanding of such blocks. Now the next point is how can we deal with such blocks. In creativity, we need to take risk. So the first thing is that to have an organizational culture that take risk, wise one, careful one, prudent one, right? So this is one important advice for this or requirement for this. Okay, you need to encourage freedom of thoughts. You need to delegate. You need to give people freedom to do things, autonomy. Also, as well, if you are able to design rewarding systems in a way that encourage creativity, that would be a good thing in your organizations. Encouraging people have different viewpoints, encouraging people to get involved positively in solving problem, winning over top management, and be involved in creativity in organizations, being able to enhance flowing of ideas in organization, responding positively, encourage positively new ideas in organization. These are different approaches, solutions, aspects of organizational culture that need to be enhanced in organization to deal with such blocks we introduced. Okay, the following slide, the next slide here, talk about some aspects, facets we need to consider in order to enhance creativity in organizations. It's called elements and conditions of creative organizations. It's four P's, like in marketing, four P's, but it's different items. Creative organization have creative people, so the selection, placement of personnel should consider that having creative people and people open uh, for creative environment. Also have processes. By processes we mean here how work is organized to be innovative and creative, not blocking new ideas, not um, preventing people from thinking freely. Also, as well, the layout, the physical design of the place and the organization should be creative and stimulating and motivating people to think and feel relaxed. This is another P we have. So we have P, people, P, processes, P, place, and product. In the end, the output of creativity is one of the elements we need for creative organizations. We need to see ideas in the end, and these ideas are implemented and acknowledged in the end by having those who have introduced these ideas and implemented them, or acts, creative acts, implemented them to be acknowledged and rewarded. So, having presented these elements, we will have another point that introduce a climate. You know, creativity is a culture or a climate, the term we have in this slide. By a culture, now we mean that we need traditions, we need programming of mind, behavior of people to be creative. So that would require four important things. Number one, in my opinion, this one is trust. People should trust each other, right? Those who try to be creative and made mistakes shouldn't be punished for this. We should allow for mistakes, because in creativity you need to experiment, and when you experiment you will make mistake, you will fail in the very beginning. Okay, so this is number one in my opinion. Number two is resources. You need resources to make people make experiments, try out meetings, encouragement, rewards, and so on. So it should be appropriate and sufficient. Security means here that adequate salary and security of job tenure. People should be relaxed about their jobs and try out things without fear of losing their jobs. Also, as well, rewarding system and recognition and acknowledgement, feedback of what they do. These are things that make people create and come up with good ideas. Okay, after introducing mindset blocks, individual one and organizational one, the different elements required in organizations and the climate. Now, the last point we are introducing in this chapter is problem solving and how they get affected by such blocks. Problem solving, we have many models in our literature for solving problems and coming up with ideas. In this course, in our textbook, we have here, we will have a simple one for Newell and Simon. It's Newell and Simon model, the very classical one, the abstract one that has only 3 stages. We see here, when we solve a problem according to Newell and Simon, we go through 3 stages. Number 1 is the recognizing stage. recognizing here, we sense that there is a problem, and we began to receive events and see what is happening around, and get the initial interpretations of this um, problem. Okay, and then the second stage for solving a problem is that we take these interpretations into a higher level, which is called transformation. The higher level here is that we take this into our space. We see the problem from our point of view. How do we do this? By comparing the events, what we see, comparing them with our knowledge, with our experience, and then we see how such a problem look like based on our goal, right? Problems may have different definitions according to different people, or based on different people, because each and everyone has different goals to deal with problems. Sorry. The last one is finding a solution, which is called the processing stage. Processing data and find how can we achieve the goal we have adopted in the previous stage. So recognizing, transformation, and then processing. This is the Newell and Simon classical 3 stages model. Blocks we may find in these stages are too many. For example, we may have a negative mindset, the fixed mindset we talked about, that prevent us from perceiving problem. We may come up with incorrect specification and understanding of the problem, so that would hinder or be obstacle for finding solutions. We may not find enough information, or we have too much information, which is called information overload here, that represent a block for creative problem solving for that. So many of these may be enhanced by creativity techniques, training, and so on, and we will see some creativity problem solving techniques in the following chapter, inshallah, to deal with blocks in these 3 stages we talked about. The last slide we have in our chapter, which is still about the 3 stages model of Newell and Simon, is that how can we adapt a program for using such 3 stages model. We give some guidelines here, we give some tips. You need to enhance your thought processes. First, you need to collect information and make sure they are consistent. Find patterns for this information to come up with some logical, proper understanding of the problem. Okay. Synthesize information, linking things together. The isolated pieces are put together in some pattern, and then use your intuition. Don't be afraid to use your feeling, okay, as beside the formal analysis. Also, as well, another tip is an understanding of the importance of the interpersonal organizational processes to be used for enhancing finding creative solutions. It's not only individual one, but organizational one as well. This is our chapter about blocks, creativity blocks in business for individual and organizational. I hope you have enjoyed the chapter. Thank you.